good. Oh, Canada.
Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
No, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.
You know, it's about the money. I just ran into him this weekend.
Did you see him?
I did see him.
Nice.
Yeah, me and Tim Hardaway had a nice little chat. I then saw him on my way. So I went to back-to-back Friday, Saturday games. The Pistons might want to give me season tickets because they beat Charlotte and then they stomped on Minnesota. Like, I mean, stomped on Minnesota.
You were at that game when Anthony Edwards had 53. You was there.
I was there saying everyone's going to get what they want. Pistons are going to get a win, and everyone that was there to see Ant, because I felt there was more people there to see Ant than anything else. Everybody got what they want because he couldn't miss. He had a great game, and all I thought was this team's not a title contender.
Not even close.
Not even close. I don't care the names around them. Watching them play reminded me of like Jordan in the mid 80s, like LeBron in 06. It reminded me of so many things that are not conducive with winning championships. Even though they've got better, I think, names and players around. When you say the names, Julius Randle, Rudy Gobert, Mike Conley. I'm jumping around a lot. Mike Conley might be the nicest guy in the history of the world.
I think he won the teammate. If I'm not mistaken, I think he won the teammate of the year award, something like that.
He came over and was signing autographs and was just talking to everybody he was like, super, super nice. Even I don't know if you could hear in the background Fluent Jr. saying, "Oh yes, he is," because he came over and just like he took the time to meet with everybody and just like you could tell he was like different. Like he was happy. There he is with my
That's what's up.
Yeah. He was super. You know what I mean? Like, and there were others. Like, don't get me wrong. Other people came over. Like, here's our fellow Canadian, Alexander Walker. It's just there were. Again, I'm not saying anything negative about anybody else. I'm just saying, I'm not saying this person isn't nice. You can see kind of the scowl here as he's signing the autograph.
Maybe he's more focused than he is.
Yeah, maybe he's younger and he's more focused. I'd be remiss if I didn't show my guy.
I did see that. I did see that. That was dope. Yes, I definitely saw that.
Dad, do you really know Tony Delk? And I'm like, well, he's right there. You want me to call him over? And he's like, yeah. I was like, hey, yo, Tony. He comes over. Hollywood, what's up? I go, Hollywood Jr. over here wants to say something. And he's like, what do you got to say? He's like, Fluent Jr.'s like, because this is why he called me Hollywood. Right? If you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you play good. If you play good, you get paid good. And he's like, yeah.
It's that simple.
Right
so, how was Detroit, by the way, Tom?
I don't think I can say this. I don't think I can express enough what a brilliant job. I don't know if it's the mayor, the people, the I don't know who, but they have done. Because I've gone to Detroit a lot over the last 20 years, and it was
a toilet. Let's call it what it is. It was a trash can. Yes,
I was like, I will not stay in downtown Detroit. I'll stay outside and then like come in for the game and then leave. Right, go to Dearborn because I'd meet with like OEM like Ford and Chrysler and those guys, but I'd go into Dearborn to meet with them and then leave.
Yeah.
And I went in this time, and my brother, who does a lot of work with ESPN, et cetera, and travels a lot, and he's at Detroit, like he does Tigers games, Pistons games, Lions games, Red Wings games, and he's like, no, we can stay downtown now. I'm like, no way. He goes, no, trust me. And I said, okay. I said, all right, I trust you. We stayed downtown. What they've done with that city, not only is it safer, like you walk down the streets and you feel safer. Don't get me wrong, it's like any city. There's always, like, don't be stupid. Like there's always
right.
but you feel safe walking down the streets. What they did to the downtown core is walkable. There's so many shops and stores and restaurants and
Right.
they beautified it. It is night and day from the place that I remember. Now,
Right.
again, like any big city, there's going to be spots that you're like, yeah. But I
We
mean,
probably shouldn't be there. Let's stay away from that part of town.
I'm like,
Yep.
I'm gonna go back and listen, don't get me wrong. It was great because I made some friends. I saw some people. Like I said, Tim Hardaway, Tony Delk. Let me shout out Greg, the usher at the Pistons game, who said, "Hey, anything you're part of this clique of NBA people, then we got you." And so brought us on the court, let the kids shoot on the court, let them go down, obviously, and we were signing autographs and doing all that kind of stuff was like just added to it. And I am I'm a super homer for my kids, so I would be not me if I didn't show a little bit of.
What's up, a little bit? She gets busy. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we had so much, and I'm going to give you more, and we can talk over this, mind you. But we had so much fun. I brought out, as I mentioned, Fluent Junior and Fluent Nephew. Play ball, so let's work out.
Good shot, yo.
I got shooters.
Good shot. It's in the blood. It's clear that it's in the blood. Now that's your nephew right there, Tom.
Yeah.
That's your nephew. That's your brother's boy. Okay.
I got shooters.
Yes, sir.
You can hear me in the background. There's some other guys who are waiting behind us. They were like, yo, sign them up, because they went 2 for 2 from the free throw line. And that game, I believe the Pistons won by 4.
Yeah.
They were like 0 of 8 down the stretch from the free throw line. Everybody was missing.
But the thing, Tone, that I recognize with the Pistons is that they don't suck. They do not suck.
They do not.
They don't. What I had to do was when I'm talking about the Pistons, I can't say stuff like, well, you lost to the Pistons, or you played the Pistons, because that's not the case anymore with this Detroit Pistons team. They don't suck. I might have overrated Jalen Duren as a defender a little bit. There's a lot of stuff that I think he needs to improve on still. But, Cade Cunningham might be an all-star.
I think Cade Cunningham will be. I think he's got something up with him, though. I feel like there's a nagging injury that they're not telling us about, because I watched, and maybe it was because he was playing back-to-backs, but I watched the first game, like I said, against Charlotte.
Yeah.
And very, very odd rotations. His minutes were weird. But then I also saw him play. He didn't seem very aggressive. More so in Minnesota, but still not. But yes, I think he is an all-star. Everybody loves Jalen Duren.
Yes.
You don't see how big. When I sat there and saw, when you're right by them, Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren are big boys.
Are huge dudes. Huge dudes.
I remember
I took my ex-lady. I took her in 2012. We went up to 12 or 13, one of those 2 years. It was 2015, though, and that's when it was. And the Bulls still had Derrick Rose. We went up to see the Celtics and the Bulls. And I remember her saying to me exactly what you just said. They look way bigger in person than they are on TV. You have no idea how big these guys are in real life.
So I was standing that close as he was shooting, and I was like, you can't.
How big is he legit, Tone? 6'8", 6'9", legit.
I think legit, yeah, 6'8".
Legit 6'8". Wow.
6'8", and not tiny, not small.
Not just a tall dude. He's big.
He's thick.
That's what I'm saying, Tone. When I look at this Detroit Piston team, I'm looking at what they're trying to build up there, and it looks like it's working. Now, if they can stay healthy, Ivy ended up breaking his leg. I thought him and Cade were the future backcourt of the league. Yeah, he ended up breaking his leg. He got hurt, and that was unfortunate. It wasn't nothing dirty, but he ended up getting hurt. That was a super tough one. Especially, I didn't even know this. Yeah.
And Fluent Junior's like, oh, he's my favorite Piston. I go, who? He's like, Ivy. And he started, how he just started schooling me who he was. And I was like, okay. And yes, and to Melo, yes, the Thompson twin, he's I don't know. It's just, again, different TV in person. I knew he was athletic.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know he was that athletic because you'll see the alley-oop dunks and those types of things, and you'll be like, yeah, he's athletic. But no, he's like, I see things away from the ball.
Yep.
He's super athletic. Like I was surprised to see that part, and like I feel like he still has to get a feel for the game, but it's coming in more. And you can, again, I always try to tell people, I look at what guys do off ball, right, when no one's watching, and that's where I really make up my decision on people. I was impressed.
It's easy to pay attention to a dude when he's on the ball because he's engaged. He's right in the middle of the action. Well, when he's off the ball and like the play has nothing to do with him, how much is he involved in the game at that point? You can get a better feel on him. Tone, this Detroit Pistons team, the fact that they got Victor Staff on their staff, now I think he's a bridge coach. I don't think he's the coach that's going to get you there.
You're probably right.
But
I think he's their Mark Jackson.
That's what I think here. I think he's a bridge coach. I think he's a guy that's going to get you here, and then somebody else is going to come in and push it over the top. However, he's still a good coach, though. That's the same thing that's going on in Cleveland right now. I think he was the coach that came into Cleveland, built that thing up, bring in Atkinson, and now Atkinson's going to be the difference. Atkinson is going to ultimately be the difference to get that team in the next year or so to the NBA championship, to the finals at minimum, and maybe even win the NBA championship. But Detroit doesn't suck, Tone. They don't. They building something up there with Cade Cunningham, who I think he's got a real shot at being an all-star. In addition to him being an all-star, I'm on record saying I think Jalen Duren is going to be on the Olympic team in 28. I'm on record saying that. Yes, I think he's going to be on the Olympic team in 28. Yes, I think that he's that rebounder that we need. I think he could be that force in the paint. He's got to clean up his defense, but I think he's going to be on the Olympic team in 28. He's definitely going to get an invite. And I said this already, and I'm on record saying it, Tone, that I think I'm not a fan of this. We got 12 guys. Tone, you remember in 1984, in I believe it was in 15 or so. Yo, let's go. Let's call up 40 guys. Let's call up 45 guys, and let's have a tryout. Let's see what works. I think we should get back to that.
I not only do I love that idea, but I also love the idea of building a team, meaning build a team. It's easy to look, and they win. It's easy to pick the 12 best guys.
Yeah.
Without even looking at them. You know who the 12 best players are, give or take. Like, sure, there's going to be 13 to 17 that you might argue.
Yeah.
But you know who those guys are. But do they always fit together? Do they give you what you need? Do they fit international ball? FIBA rules are a little bit different.
Right.
Those are the things where I'm like, it's not as much as the US still is leaps and bounds better than the rest of the world. The gap in the top tier talent isn't there anymore, right? Like if you look at the top two guys from each country, there's not a gap. Heck, there's probably some that are better than the US when you're just talking top two. Where the difference is going to be is actually the bottom six, where the US has the bottom six are way better than the bottom six of another team. The difference is those bottom six on the other countries will do what's necessary and needed to win games, whereas the USA's bottom six are superstars who might not be willing to do that dirty work that wins games, that wins gold medal games. Like those, again, they were just leaps and bounds better and they won it this year again. But that's this part that I think we lose track of, because as the top tier talent closes in, that's where the difference is going to be made.
And I feel like when a guy like Jalen Duren, that's why I feel like he's going to make the crew, Tone, because I don't think that they're just going to pick. I think James is going to be gone. I think KD is going to be gone. I think Curry is going to be gone. The locks, I think, are going to be Jason Tatum. I think they're going to call Jaylen Brown back. Devin Booker. Bam. I think they're going to call Bam back. I think we got 5 or 6 locks. With that being said, this is why I want to have 35, 40 guys in camp. Because when you have a guy like Jalen Duren in camp and you see him glass cleaning like he is, you go, you know what? We might need that. instead of
I
just
would
a bunch
love,
of bucket getters.
I would love Jalen Duren to set a screen for me that I'm going to come off of, and I'm going to shoot, and then roll to the basket for that rebound. If by chance I miss, I won't. But if in case, I feel because the thing is, when you have a guy like that, you actually shoot. It's almost detrimental to that person who's using so much energy to go there and rebound
more because I know I got a glass cleaner down.
But I'm also going to make more because I'm more confident that even if I miss, he's got it. Well, now there's less pressure. I make the shot. It's the strangest thing, but you know what I'm talking about. Hopefully,
I do know what you're talking about. I do know what you're talking about, Tone. And it's interesting because we were talking about we're gonna have a draft later when we talk about tryouts. But speaking of trying, Tone, I would always tell my daughter when she was younger, I want you to be that chick. Don't be afraid of being that chick, but you don't want to be that chick. Is Joy Taylor that chick?
It's funny that you mentioned that because I was going to sing a little song for you.
Uh-oh.
Joy to the world. Joy to the world.
And I'm not much of a gossip guy. I don't really do gossip.
I was hesitant to bring it up. I had it ready because, well, I had it ready. But I was like, if it came up, I find it. Listen, here's the reality of it. She's named in a lawsuit that she did some wrong. And let me say did wrong because they say she slept her way. She slept her way to get.
She wouldn't be the first one. She wouldn't be the first one, but okay.
But like, I'm not putting. I feel like we always put the onus on one side or the other. So let me say this: one, if this is true, because as of right now, it's accusations, and the thing is, once someone gets accused with something, we automatically make them guilty, which I hate. However, that's why I add that if this is true, I find it hilarious because she forever told everybody, I'm not here just because I'm Jason Taylor's sister. So you're here because of the other thing, which is way worse than being Jason Taylor's sister.
When she brought that up, Tone, when I originally heard her say that, because I don't like when I see, like, not necessarily siblings. I don't like when I see people who are related to other people in the business. I like when I see them in the business and they make it clear that, yo, I'm here on my own merit. I remember Julio Iglesias, his son wouldn't tell people about his name because he didn't want people knowing that was his father because he wanted to make his own way.
Yeah.
With that being said, right? With that being said, if you're going to tell everybody, I'm actually a real journalist. That's essentially what you're telling us. You're a real journalist. I'm not here because my brother is Jason Taylor and he is who he is, which I don't have a problem with. Because we all need somebody to get in the door, Tone. Let's be clear about that.
Listen, if she said, yes, listen, Jason Taylor's my brother. Did it hurt that he's my brother? No, but I got a journalism degree from here. I did this. Here's how I paid my dues. I did it. Okay, then.
I don't take issue with that at all. I don't. I don't take issue with that at all.
When people say it didn't help, that's when I'm like, now you're being disingenuous. Now I don't trust you.
Right.
So when something like this comes out, I go, okay, so she did what she didn't need to do to get ahead, and those guys did what they needed to do to get some head, and there you go. And both parties, she didn't do it alone. She didn't throw herself at them and say, they said, I'm sure there was a conversation that was. I believe it's called a quid. What is it? Quid pro
quo. That's what it's called. Pro quo. I'm going to do something for you. You do something for me.
You do something for me. So if one is guilty, both are guilty. Both parties are guilty.
Sure.
I think if it's true, again, I'll say if it's true, I find it interesting that someone. And you know what? When you're that defensive of things. That's typically a sign that you're guilty of something.
Sure. I just don't the thing that I concern myself with her the most, the thing that I concern myself with her is, if you get down like that, which I think it's way more than just her. I think it's plenty of those chicks that get down like that. Yeah. If you want me to take you seriously, that kind of stuff can't come out. That kind of stuff has to stay in-house. It has to. And I don't like the whole lawsuit of Skip Bayless. So I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not a Skip Bayless fan, but there's no way you could convince me he's that sloppy. No way. For being as old as he is, being married,
right,
and for being on TV for as long as he's been on, there's no way he was that sloppy. No, I'm not buying that. No. How Joy got involved in this, I don't know. That part I don't know, Tone. Right? That part I don't know. How Joy got involved in this.
Well, the thing is, there's a 47-page lawsuit that said this is what was going on at Fox.
Mm-hmm.
He was paying this, she was doing that, he was doing those.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how certain people, like obviously Emmanuel H.O. Echo is getting killed. But like, you know, Shannon's like, it wasn't me. I wasn't in the lawsuit. Dude, just because your name wasn't in it, don't think you're safe if you've done something. If you did do something, I'd keep my mouth real shut.
I think Shannon was. I think Shannon was. I think he's excluded from this, Tone. And the reason why I think Shannon is excluded from this is off the strength of him just cleaning up his. Shannon knows where to be. He knows where. One, he knows where to be. Two, he knows who to be around. Three, he knows how long to be there. Shannon is not one of those messy dudes.
He dips in time? You think he dips in time?
Oh, absolutely. Shannon know that, you know, if I'm in the spot, I'm in here long enough, and when it's time to bounce, okay, it's time for me to go. I'm not going to get caught in the wrong spot.
I'm surprised Shannon wasn't like, oh yeah, I'm involved in that too, because he's trying to beat some other allegations.
That's why he ain't involved in this, Tone. For that reason, he don't want to get involved in this. For that reason, I don't need no more of that nonsense. I don't. No.
After his IG slip up.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep my gig, right? And I worked hard to get here. And the last thing that I need is some more of this nonsense going on. And the fact that he isn't involved in this on paper doesn't mean that you ain't involved in it. Okay, Tone, just because y'all ain't see me coming out the bank don't mean that I didn't devise the plan.
And let's be very clear. This happens all the time in every industry. And it's not women with male executives trying to get ahead. There are men with women executives. Like this is not, you don't hear about it for a reason. But the Skip Bayless thing, back to your point, 1.5 million? I don't know about that.
That's what I'm saying, Tone. I just can't. I can't imagine that Skip would be that sloppy. And I think he's an
1.5.
No, not for that, Tone. Not for that. In the words of Eddie Murphy, nope. See, it's worth $50 million. No, I can't see it. No, I'm not trying to hear it. I'm not trying to hear it.
A lot.
I just feel like I feel like Joy, how she got involved in this. This might have blown the lid off of something else that was going on there at Fox. And
how do they go to work today and they just like all act like there's nothing going on?
Oh, this is where the professionalism comes in, Tone. We still got a job.
Jimmy Butler gets suspended for 7 games for saying he wants out.
Mm-hmm.
And then this blows up and they're all on TV. By the way, she's all covered up, by the way. I don't know if you noticed today.
Of course. People in wardrobe said, no, you're not wearing that.
Yeah, you're not.
You're not wearing that.
Just one more time. Joy to the world. Okay.
I always, and Tone, there's a prop, there's something about women like Joy, and I'm not an expert, but you know, as a dude, no, she's a babe. I won't argue that. 100% she's a babe. But there was a part of me that always felt like, okay, I can appreciate you being as smart as you are. I can appreciate you working as hard as you working. But there's no way that you look like that and you've gotten to where you've gotten, and nobody has ever, one, come on to you, and you continuously say no. Because last I checked, Tone, just like us as men being human, women are human too. And as many times as she's been approached, Joy, you're not selling me that you're going to continuously say no.
Listen, I know personally, I know one beautiful woman who's super smart, can speak intelligently about sports, sure. and I married her and had 2 kids. So I'm not.
Here's the difference with that though, Tone. Just so you know, to your point, Tone. I want you to stay right there, Tone. That woman that you married, just so you know, there was a line. I want to make sure that we clear on that. There was. However, and when I say that there was a line, I mean that get in line. She chose you though. She was like, that's the one right there. Of all the ones, she was like, yep, him right there. The rest of y'all can go. Goodbye.
And that's why I said like we're hearing things, and that's why I say if, because like I say, I don't want to put it all on her. Do I think that she did it? Maybe, probably, just to get fast tracked. Like sometimes it's just, could she have done it on her own? Considering who her brother is, yeah, probably too. But it's that thing of that constant. You hear it. I'm not making excuses, but you hear like musicians, like they're on tour, and every day there's people throwing themselves. Like, what's that line from Kanye? How you stay faithful in a room full of hoes?
You don't.
So most of these execs saying, hey. Oh, and by the way, here. So, again, I'm not giving her a free pass. I'm curious to see how it pans out. I'm curious to see what was in the 47 pages, because we don't know. There's more.
No, 100%.
There's more.
100%.
And so, it also came out, I don't know, interesting timing, maybe to counteract what's happening up here. Our prime minister resigned, right?
I did not know that, Tom.
Good riddance to bad rubbish, I believe, is what Mark would say. Check out what he did, though. Let me ask you this. If you heard someone in any profession say, I'm not a quitter, I'm a fight. I'm a fighter. Everybody says I'm a fighter. I don't quit. So today I'm here to resign.
What? I'm not a quitter, but today I quit. What?
And here's the best part. I'm shutting down government until March so that my party can find a new leader while I stay on as prime minister.
Okay, that doesn't work, Tom. No, that's not the way that works.
So let me be clear. I'm the CEO of a company.
Yep.
I bankrupt the company. It's in
done.
Disaster.
We got no doubt. We got nothing.
It's a disaster. What I'm going to do is shut down the company so they can't do any work until I find a new CEO. And until we find that person, I'm going to stay on as CEO and keep doing what I've been doing.
But we close, though. What the hell is going on here? I'm in the matrix.
You know why? Because I still want to use. I'll use American terms. I still want to go hang out at Camp David because it's beautiful.
Oh my God! I still want to use the private jet. I still want the amenities that's going on with being in office. I do. I don't want to do what's actually what I signed up to do, though. Which, by the way, Tony, isn't that in the contract? You can't quit. What the hell? I'm good. You know what? I should have been a politician because you can't just quit. No, you know what, Tone? Tone, I'm out. No, that's not the way that works. No.
I've got all right, I'm gonna joy to okay. So we're doing a draft, and I wanna explain what's going on with the draft. We got a ton of topics, so we'll do some more of the topics, but I want to talk about the draft once, and then the second time I'll talk about is when we're doing live. So here's how the draft is gonna work. We are drafting 2 expansion teams. But we're going to do it the way people think happened in the 90s when they say it watered down the league. All right, so this is what we're going to do. You and I are going to pick between the Seattle Supersonics and the Las Vegas Gamblers. I don't know what else to call them. I'll just call them the Las Vegas basketball team. We're going to flip a coin. Hopefully I have a coin. We're going to flip a coin to see who gets first pick. First pick, though, you can either pick one of 2 things. You can pick the first player, so you have the first pick, or you can pick to pick which conference you're going to compete in. Now, why that's important, ladies and gentlemen, is because once we've picked these 10 players, Fluent Junior will be creating those teams in NBA 2K, and those players that we draft are coming off their teams, and there's no limit, so we can pick anybody. Anybody that's in the league. He's going to take your 10 players and my 10 players. They'll probably add in some no-name guys at the bottom to fill out the roster. Yep. And he's going to put those 2 teams, Seattle and Las Vegas, into NBA 2K, and they're going to play a season, and we're going to see what happens.
We're going to see what happens.
Now, it might be 1 season, 2 seasons, 5 seasons. I don't know. So then next week when we come back, I'll have the video evidence, of course, but we will see how our teams did in actual, because everyone cares about 2K more than real life. So we're going to see how our teams that we drafted. So like if we pick, one of us is obviously going to pick Jokic. So I'll use him as an example. So if I pick Jokic, he's no longer on the Nuggets.
So the Nuggets are finished. They don't have Jokic no more. Now he's on the Seattle Kraken or
it'll be Seattle Supersonics.
He's back on the Supersonics, or he's in with the Las Vegas Gamblers.
Yeah.
I don't know if I hate that. I don't know if I hate that, Tone.
Yeah, but if it's the Las Vegas Gamblers, Jordan should own them, though, not LeBron. But anyways, that's another conversation for another day. Joy to the world. I'm going to use that a lot today. It's it's still kind of the Christmas season. All right, let's get back to so that's our draft. So we're going to draft 2 point guards, 2 shooting guards, 2 small forwards, 2 power forwards, 2 centers.
Yep.
That will make up our team of 10. And then the rosters will be filled out. We do have a super chat, which takes us into some trade conversations that I want to have anyway. So let's hit up Taco. You know what today was for dinner?
Taco Tuesday?
Taco Tuesday. And we got Taco Frog. I had no frog. Have you ever had frog's legs by any chance?
I've never had frog legs, but I heard they're really good, though.
Kind of tastes like chicken, but a little rubbery. Should Houston trade Van Vliet? If so, to who and for whom?
Well, if you're trading Van Fleet, what's the plan moving forward? Are you moving Thompson to the lead guard spot? Because if you're gonna
just ready,
no. But I do think he's ready to start, though. I do think that. I don't know if he's ready to move to the lead guard spot, but I do think that he's ready to start. You may have to, though. Now that I'm thinking about it, Tone, you may have to move forward with Thompson and move him to the lead guard spot and build that offense around Sengun. You may have to do that. Build that offense around Sengun and Jalen Green and put Amin Thompson at the lead guard spot. You may have to do that.
Interesting.
And if I'm moving off of Van Fleet, I'm getting off that money, which is it's now because he's coming off the books after this year, so it's going to be prorated. So I'm looking at about $20 million that I got to come off of. So if I'm doing that, who do I want? Well, I think that I'm straight at the lead guard spot. I'm not sure if I'm ready to start Amin Thompson, but I think I'm straight at the lead guard spot. So I could use a backup 5-man, and I want to get another 2 guard too, because I'm not really sure.
Who could use Van Fleet?
I never thought Van Fleet. I always thought Van Fleet was a rotation guard. I never thought he was a starter.
You've been very clear about that, and I'm going to steal your line right off the bat. You have to get a third team involved.
We might have to get a third team involved
because I would say Van Vliet would be very, very, very would make sense in Phoenix. And since they're going to move, we know that they're moving Beal. We know that they don't really have a distributor, although that's not really Fred's thing. But he is a very capable distributor, especially coming off the bench, maybe as a secondary scorer, but also certain minutes with the starters. He can be that guy that gets KD and those guys and Booker going. Like I've seen him put up double-digit assist games here. Obviously, I saw a lot of them here in Toronto. He could be that guy. And so if we're saying now there's other pieces that have to come in, but I think when you ask the question, where would he go? I think him going to Phoenix, Beal going to that third team, and then Houston getting whatever they get to match up. There's obviously salary stuff that has to be figured out there too. It makes a lot of sense to me.
I think he makes a lot of sense in Minnesota too. I could see him playing behind Mike Conley because I don't think Dillingham is ready yet. I don't. But him playing somewhere else, I don't think he thinks he's a rotation guard. So because he doesn't think he's a rotation guard, I think that might be the problem. Now, I've been on record saying this. You could call up the Memphis Grizzlies, and I think that he can play behind Ja.
See, you literally read my mind because I thought, who's a point guard that he'd be like, yeah, he's better than me. Like he wouldn't be happy coming off the bench, but he's like, it's Ja.
But then again, but then in Memphis it doesn't work because we already got a lead guard, and that's Scottie Pippen Jr. He's great. He might be. He's one of the best backup lead guards in the game. So I don't think that we need anything. And I can tell you right now, if I'm Memphis, I ain't giving up Scottie Pippen Jr. for Fred VanVleet.
No. In reality, Fred probably ends up on a bad team where he can be the lead guard and start. But he'll be on a bad team.
I would if I'm Houston, I'd call up the Miami Heat and check their temperature on Jimmy Butler because I think he's better than Scary Terry. I do. I think he's better. I think he's better than him, and I think he'll play more in Miami than he would in other places. I do like him in Atlanta too.
He does have a Miami attitude.
Mm-hmm. No,
Like
undrafted.
he'll fit Pat Riley's, like like you said, undrafted kid from Chicago-ish, Illinois. Worked his way, fought hard. He's tough.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we'll always remember him sitting there, bloodied, band-aid, during the finals or during the playoffs, maybe. I think it was the Milwaukee series where he had a son, and like from that moment on, like felt like he couldn't miss. He's a tough kid.
Yes, he is.
Heck of a player. I know you don't like him as a lead guard, but he's a heck of a player that has a spot.
I don't like him as. It's not that I don't like him as a lead guard, Tone. I do like him as a lead guard. I don't think he's my lead guard if we're trying to win it. No, I think he's a rotation guard if we're trying to win it.
That's fair. I do, since I mentioned Chicago, and I do want to get. No, let's stick on trades. Because you had brought up just a second ago, you'd call and talk about ask about Jimmy Buckets. There's a problem brewing though in Miami, because none of Jimmy Butler's other preferred destinations, the Mavericks, the Rockets, the Warriors, are showing interest in trading for him. Is this a trade that gets done, or is Jimmy staying in Miami against his will?
Well, Tone, you
and let me add a piece to that and say, because Miami's the same fan base, at least, that said Damian Lillard wants to come here, do the right thing, and give him what he wants. He's a veteran. Well, isn't Jimmy Butler a veteran, and they should do the right thing and give him what he wants?
Well, Tone, the reason why I segue to this is because you worked in the auto industry. Tone, if I brought you a car, and my car was raggedy, could you sell it?
Yes.
And would you get top dollar for it?
Me personally, yes, but most people no.
Probably not. You probably wouldn't.
Have you seen that movie with Danny DeVito? I think it's a Christmas movie. Danny DeVito, he gets into a battle with his neighbors about who has the better Christmas lights, but he works as a car salesman.
I do remember that. Yes.
And on his first day, they go, "Hey, we bet you $1,000 that you can't sell that guy out there kicking tires." And 3 guys jump in, so he gets $3,000 if he sells them the car. He walks out there. 2 minutes later, walks in. They're laughing, and he's like, "I want my $3,000 on my desk by the end of the day, no checks." And they're like, "How did he sell him a car? He's the owner of the dealership." And the owner walks in and goes, "I think I just bought one of my own cars for $4." So I could do it, but yes, to your point, no.
When I think about what Jimmy Butler is right now. Because again, Tone, if I brought you, or if I brought somebody on your lot, if I brought them a damaged car, they probably couldn't sell it.
No,
right? But if I cleaned it up, got fresh tires on it, got the car washed, got the engine washed, and it looks good, you probably have a better opportunity, a better chance of selling it at that point. Jimmy Butler right now is damaged goods, right? With Jimmy Butler right now being damaged goods, it's hard to sell him. It's ridiculously hard to sell him. So I don't want it to sound like that. It's ridiculously hard to trade him, right? So, I mean, I do understand it. I do understand the money. It wouldn't be straight up, right? It wouldn't be straight up if you trade Jimmy Butler. No, it would probably be for some. It would probably be, and if I'm Miami, I'm definitely asking for some of those kids. If you think that if you think I'm handing Jimmy over for Fred VanVleet in a first or second round pick, no, I'm asking for some of those kids, and you're going to give me some of those kids. But with that being said, this isn't a good time. This is not a good time right now to try to trade Jimmy Butler off the strength of what's going on. He hasn't been playing good. Not only has he not been playing good,
everyone knows he's unhappy.
Everybody knows he's unhappy, which means that the price goes down, Tom. The price goes to the floor. However, if Buckets was playing and he was getting busy, like you'd hoped he'd get busy, what happened 2 years ago? Just so you guys know, Tone and I had this conversation 2 years ago when the Lakers started the season 2-10, and around this time, 2 years ago, Anthony Davis started getting busy. When I say started getting busy, 35-15, 40-20, 28-20. Tone was like, trade him now.
You just made the list.
Move him right now. Don't wait.
No.
Move him right now. Don't waste any time with this guy. Move him right now. This isn't the time to move Jimmy Butler. But what we did was we made a mistake and Pat Riley's so petty with this, with the whole 7 games thing because I want some of that money back. That's all it was.
Yeah, 100%.
This has nothing to do with anything else except I want some of that money back. Because what he could have done was what Carolina did with what Tampa Bay did with Keyshawn Johnson. Go home, we'll find a trade partner for you. Don't come back, and we'll settle it that way. But no, nope. You're suspended for 7 games. With you being suspended for 7 games, that means that at what point, when we can't find a trade partner that we want, does he come back after those 7 games? Because I don't think he puts on the Miami Heat uniform again.
No, I don't think he plays for Miami ever again. And it's typical Pat Riley, I'm the boss kind of maneuver.
Right.
Ticket, that's for you. Okay. So if he gets traded, so let's talk actual trade partners.
Yeah.
Where does Jimmy go? What makes the most sense for Miami? Because let's be honest, they're going to care about for Miami and for them. And because I have an idea that is going to be a surprise, but I want to hear yours first.
I think Houston, to be honest with you. And the reason why is because, one, the Fred VanVleet, him at the point guard in Miami, I think he's better than Scary Terry Rozier. I think he's better than him. Plus, if you Pat Riley, I think you can get the Houston Rockets to give up some of those kids. Like, I'm asking for Cam Whitmore because I think Cam Whitmore maybe is possibly better than Jaime Jaquez. I'm not saying he is, but I think that I might have something with him.
Be careful what you say about the Spanish John Wick.
Oh, I look at Cam Whitmore and I see the athleticism and I see the upside. It's just they got a log jam right there in Houston at that spot with Jabari, with Tari Eason, with Amen Thompson. I think that they got a problem there. Now, Jimmy Butler, and I don't blame him. I don't blame Pat Riley at all. I just think he jumped the gun. I do. I do think that Jimmy Butler wanted out, and Pat Riley is going to accommodate him, and he's going to get him out of there. I just think that he jumped the gun because when you put it out there, especially with Jimmy Butler being unhappy, price tag goes down. That's all that is.
And that's why I say it's I get it from I'm the boss perspective of Pat Riley, but at the same time, that's not smart business. Again, unless you're not planning on moving him, unless you're putting your foot down and saying you're under contract, you're playing for us, so go get your shit together and come back and play for Miami because at the end of the day, Miami's still 17-17, some 16-16. They're a 500 team, right? Which only puts them 2 games back of 4th place in the East. Like they're still in the East. Which
they're a game out the 5 spot.
They're a game. There you go. I thought too. Okay, so they're a game out of the 5 spot. So it's
they're
not
in 9th place right now. They're a game out of the 5 spot.
Okay, so you get a motivated Jimmy. It's, hey, I suspended you for seven games. Come back, you play like I know you can play, and then we'll work something out in the offseason. He could. There's nothing to say that doesn't happen, right? Especially they're not going to trade him just to trade him. They're going to want to get something back. I think what I said, if you remember, I said at the beginning of the season, like a couple of weeks in, trade him to Milwaukee. Get your Damian Lillard because that's not working. And okay, they're better now. 2 games over 500, if whatever you consider that better. Make them whole because he Jimmy replacing Chris Middleton. I like that. They got to move some other moves. They got to move some other things.
We might have a third team involved, but with that being said, with what you just said, Tone, we might have to get it. That's always my go-to.
I love that.
With that being said, how does this go over with Giannis? Because remember, this was just 2 years ago that Buckets was like, "I own you guys," which he did, by the way. Right? He said, "I own you guys."
And what does the NBA do now? Somebody owns you, then you play with them.
I thought we was past that though.
No,
I didn't know we were still doing that.
We're still there. We're still there.
Are we still there, or are we on the other side of that? Like we might still be there, but
we might not be at the peak.
Yeah,
we're still
doing that.
Yeah, we're still doing that. We're still doing it.
Damian Lillard. What is it? Because Damian Lillard's contract. Let's see. I think Buckets is on the books this year. I think
Buckets is guaranteed. Well, he's got the option for next year, but he's got this year and next year. It's $100 million. And
So that means that
and
means that we got to match that money, which
and
means
Dame is
that
what,
Damian Lillard,
110? Yeah.
yes,
So
and
it's within 10%. It's close.
and if Damian Lillard is coming to South Beach, I mean, how reasonable? Because we already seen this movie, Tone, when it comes to trading for Damian Lillard, and Pat Riley screwed it up the first time. So how reasonable is he going to be when it comes to Jimmy Butler? Number one. Number two, this is a playoff team in Milwaukee that he's giving Jimmy Butler to. Why the hell do I want to do that?
That's the thing that stops it, is because
why the hell do I want to do that? I don't want to do that.
Unless he believes a motivated Damian Lillard in Miami, where he wanted to be, is better than a demotivated Jimmy Butler. That's the only.
But in all actuality, considering what's going on now with Damian Lillard, considering what's going on now with Milwaukee, they've gotten a lot better. They're the 5 seed. I had them at the 4 seed before the season started. They're the 5 seed. I think they're a game and a half out the 4 spot, and they're gonna cause. I think they're gonna make some noise in the playoffs. Like if the season ended today, they got to see Orlando in round 1. I think they beat Orlando. I don't think they smoke Orlando, but I think that they beat Orlando. So if I'm Damian Lillard, which situation is better for me right now? Am I better off playing with? Because remember what I'm doing here, Tone. I came here to win. And in South Beach, if they move off of buckets, and we still got Bam, who I have to now, Tone, I've become more. It's become clearer to me that I might have been wrong about Bam. And
I think you were hella wrong on. I told you he was a 3, meaning the third man on a championship team.
I might have been wrong about Bam, but with that being said, right? With that being said,
but so in your defense, he's also still playing out of position.
I think he's a 4-man. I do. I think he's a 4-man. But to get Jimmy Butler, I mean, like I said, if I'm Damian Lillard, where do I want to win? Because I can tell you right now, if I want to win in Milwaukee, I think Milwaukee is closer. Even if you put Damian Lillard with Tyler Hero and Bam, I don't think they're closer than what's going on right now in Milwaukee with him and Giannis. And I think that they move. And if I'm being honest with you, Tone, I think that they move off of Middleton anyway. So if they're moving off of Middleton,
they have to move up.
I think they're moving off of Middleton anyway.
But they need to, yeah.
Yes, 100%. I think they're moving off of Middleton anyway. So if they're already moving off of Middleton, they could probably get something for him. And now they got this kid Jackson. I think Milwaukee's closer to winning than Miami is. Why do I want to go to Miami? Because the weather's nice? No.
Yes.
I don't just want to go down there because the weather's nice. I watched Kobe Bryant ask out with the Lakers. I'm not staying here just because the weather's nice. No, you're not going to ruin my prime years. And Damian Lillard is like, yo, I'm trying to win. And I'm not just going to go to South Beach because the weather is nice.
I'm
not doing that.
I am. And Kobe was just trying to get what he wanted. He wasn't going anywhere. Kobe, listen, before Kobe even got drafted, like people, you know this, before Kobe even got drafted, he was playing these games to get what he wanted. Don't forget, he had his people. Sorry, he didn't do it. He had his people let John Calipari know, if the Nets draft me, I'm gonna go play in Europe.
Which he had no intention of doing.
You no chance he was gonna go play in Europe.
If the Nets would have drafted him, he would have been in Jersey.
And he would have been in Jersey, and it probably would have been a good thing. Yeah. And then you would have stayed in Jersey. Shaq would have stayed in Jersey. It would have been a beautiful homecoming for everybody. Speaking of Shaq, I've reached out to Dwight Howard and his people. When he responds, you need to reach out to Shaq and his people, and we're going to bring them together. We need to stop this. Whatever's going on.
How long has this been going on?
We need to listen. If Kobe and Shaq can get along, Dwight and Shaq can get along. We need to stop this.
How long has this been going on, Tony? I mean,
Too
at
long.
least a decade. At least a decade this has been going on. I'm over it.
There's too many bad things going on in basketball. I'm going to do one more, and then we're going to get to our draft. But you know how I feel about retired numbers.
I do know how you feel about retired numbers.
Everyone in Chicago,
shut your damn mouth.
What the hell are they doing?
Oh,
He stole an MVP from about 4 other people once. Had the shortest peak of any player aside from Bill Walton. No, he's small, less peak than Bill Walton, who played, if you add up all his games, like 5-6 seasons. Why are we retiring his number?
He's a Chicagoan. He's the only.
I don't give a damn if he's the mayor of Chicago.
It's only 2 league MVPs in Chicago history, and that's Jordan and Derrick Rose.
But we all know he didn't deserve it.
Took them to the Eastern Conference Championship.
Whoa, wow.
Yep.
So are we retiring Damian Lillard's number in Portland because he took them to the Western Conference Finals?
That's going to be part of it. Sure.
Oh, Jesus.
That's 100% going to be part of it, Tone.
I can't deal with
that's going to be part of it. What I don't get is I don't understand why there was a ceremony. They ain't retiring the jersey until next year. Like I thought they were doing it that day.
Yeah.
I thought they were doing it then. I didn't understand that. Excuse me.
I don't know what's crazier.
Hey, you know what? I've got this water.
Kanye. Or him saying, I don't want a statue because I've seen how all these other statues have been turning out. Now he wants a statue?
No way. Let's chill out, yo.
Relax. Statue?
Let's chill out. We're not doing that. Because in Chicago, a statue symbolizes something completely different.
Who has a statue in Chicago?
23 has a statue in Chicago.
Anybody else?
There's a mural of Scotty in the arena. There's a mural of he doesn't.
And forget 23. He couldn't hold 33's jockstrap.
No, he couldn't. He wasn't.
So if he has a mural, we'll have a bobblehead day for you. And I love Derrick Rose. I'm not disrespecting. I know it sounds like I'm disrespecting Derrick Rose, but I don't mean to. I hate these people. Certain people deserve their flowers. He does not deserve this. And am I wrong?
I don't have a problem with the jersey retirement. Tone, you and I have always been at odds about jersey retirements, and I actually don't have a problem with the jersey retirement because I think about what he did. Well, even though he was only there for a couple of years, I mean, they retired Chamberlain jersey with the Lakers. He only played there 5 years. That was it.
But he won a championship.
He did win a championship.
And let me say, I disagree with that. I've told you I disagree with.
You disagree with all jerseys being retired, Tone. You're not a jersey retirement guy. I can't. I appreciate that. On the other hand, I like to commemorate guys, right? I like for guys to be respected when they're no longer around. And for Derrick Rose to do what he did in Chicago even though I think he played there 8 years or something like that. In the 8 years he played there, made the All-Star team 3 times, won the league MVP. I think he made the All-Pro team. I know he made it once. I think he might have made it twice, but I know for a fact he made it once. Made the All-Star team 2 or 3 times. So in 8 years, he was damn good for them. Once he tore his knee up, he was never the same player, right? He was never the same player that he was after that. However, what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to go overboard. And on top of that, what he was to the city of Chicago. I think that matters. Because when I think about, like, Derrick Rose, like, Tone, I was watching a documentary. I didn't know that Mark Messier was from Edmonton. I did not know that. That's a big deal. I did not know that Mark Messier was, and on top of the Edmonton Oilers being phenomenal, I didn't know he was from there. That's even better. Well, the same logic goes for Derrick Rose. I mean, Derrick Rose.
Hold on. Now you're bringing up Moose, and I know a lot about Moose. That's Mark Messier for those that don't know. Mm-hmm. He's from there, but he also was the leader of that team. He wasn't the best player. That was Gretzky. But he was the leader of that team. Both vocally, physically, he was the leader of that team. They won multiple Stanley Cups. And then he went and won one in New York. So he has a career of hometown kid, but also leader of the team, multiple championships, and then goes and has success other places too. If you're going to retire a number 11 is the number to retire in Edmonton. Okay, cool. That makes sense. I'm going to read you the guys that have, and only one should have their number retired, however, but you have Jerry Sloan. His number 4 is retired in Chicago. You have Bob Love. Go check out Bob Love, by the way. Bob Love was a heck of a player. Shouldn't have his number retired. Jordan, Pippen, and now Derrick Rose. I'm sorry. Derrick Rose did not have the career in Chicago. Even though I disagree with Bob Love and Jerry Sloan, he did not have the career in Chicago that those four guys had. He didn't. He didn't. And yes, part of it is I don't like anybody's number being retired, but
Horace Grant's jersey's not retired either.
no, why would it be? We're retiring a numbers is we're retiring a superstar, the best player on a dynastic team. That should, if you're going to retire a number, retiring Nick Collison, we're going to retire. We're going to retire Udonis Haslem. We're gonna, if they haven't already, we're like, where do we stop? Let's just have no more numbers then. Let's start going to alphabet. I'm A, I'm double A. Oh, like it's ridiculous.
I don't think you. Tone, this is why you and I are always at odds with this, because I don't think that you understand the symbolism of getting your jersey retired. Getting your jersey retired.
I do.
You don't, Tone, because you think that a guy. You think that just like the Hall of Fame, just like you with the Hall of Fame. Okay, it's the best of the best of the best, right? I get that. Over 6,000 players, over 5,000 players have played in the NBA. Only I think less than 200 of them are in the Hall of Fame. That's less than 10. That's less than like 2%. It's something ridiculous like that. So if I got a guy
of those 5,000 players, hold on, of those 5,000 players, only 1,000 of them are starters. So you have 20% of your starters being in the Hall of Fame. That's too much.
20, right? Tone. That's 2 out of every 10 guys.
It's too much.
Wow, 2 out of that means 8 out of 10 guys are not that. 80% of those guys are not. That's 4 out of every 5 guys are not that. I mean, that's a pretty big deal. And when you talk about a Chicago Bulls franchise, which before Jordan, Scottie, and Horace Grant got there, they were nothing. They were nothing before those guys got there.
100%.
I think Horace Grant is, if I'm not mistaken, Tone. Let's see, Joakim Noah, and when I think about front court guys, Joakim Noah, Horace Grant. That's it.
Artis Gilmore.
Nope. Artis Gilmore was never an all league defender. Horace Grant.
I didn't know. You just said front court players in Chicago.
That's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about front court players. Okay. Horace Grant did make the All-Star team, and he was an all-league defender, I think 3 times in Chicago. Number one, I think Chicago Bulls, particularly, I ain't talking about the NBA, I'm just talking about in Chicago particularly. I think he's in top 10 all-time in rebounding. I think I also think, if I'm not mistaken, he's in the top 10 in scoring with the Chicago Bulls. He's one of the best players that they've ever had. And the fact that they don't even consider hanging up his jersey, I understand why you're hanging up Derrick Rose jersey. This is a guy who, he's from Chicago, won the league MVP, the youngest league MVP in NBA history, 22 years old. That's never happened, and it hasn't happened. It didn't happen before he did it, and it hasn't happened since he did it. From Chicago, youngest league MVP, was elite. With all of that being said, right? With all of that being said, he didn't have the career that we would have liked to see him have. But with the Chicago Bulls organization particularly, where does he fall amongst the pantheon players with the Chicago Bulls? He wasn't better than Jordan. He wasn't better than Scottie Pippen. After that, Tone, who are we talking about? After that, who are we talking about? Because he clearly was the best player. He was that. You talk about Moose with Edmonton. Derrick Rose was the leader of that Chicago Bulls team when they were in the Eastern Conference Championship before he tore his knee up.
One time. And what did he do, by the way, when he won that MVP and they won 62 games and they were the number 1 seed in the NBA?
They lost in the Eastern Conference Championship. And he got the door shut on him by James.
As a favorite, you underperformed. As a favorite, you underperformed. And then Horace Grant, I think 93 and 94 were the 2 years that he made all defensive team in Chicago. And then two times, okay. Yeah, and then two in Orlando. And again, this is not here. Derrick Rose played how many seasons in Chicago?
I think 8. He showed up in 08, and I think he played there until 15, 16. I think he played 8 years there.
4 years, got hurt. 3 years. So he played 7 seasons because he was there for 8 years, but he didn't play 1 season. And how many elite seasons did he have?
Half of them. I'll say up to 7 seasons.
1, his MVP year.
Because
after the injury wasn't him.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't the same. I mean, he won the Rookie of the Year. Then the next year after that,
but he's not elite. Winning Rookie of the Year does not make you elite in the
No,
NBA.
it doesn't make you elite, but he's on his way to being that.
Okay,
right?
So,
he's on his way to being that.
Maybe 3 seasons where he averaged 22 points over those 3 seasons.
Yep. And with the Chicago Bulls organization, if you think about the Chicago Bulls organization, I ain't talking about the NBA, Tone. Just so you know, you would never say Zydrunas Ilgauskas amongst the best big men ever in the history of the NBA. I think he's the all-time leading rebounder in Cleveland Cavaliers history.
Well, then we should retire Orlando Woolrich's number because he had more 20 point per game seasons than Derrick Rose.
And and how long did he play in Chicago?
Around the same 6-7 years.
Right, but did he have the impact that Derrick Rose had?
He was their only player until Jordan got there.
Right, and with him being that only player, maybe we should, because if we retire Bob Love's jersey, right? If we retire Bob Love's jersey, we retire Jerry Sloan's jersey. We're talking about the Chicago Bulls organization, Tone. That's what we're talking about. We ain't talking about the NBA. Okay. We're talking about what Orlando Woolrich did. Because like I just told you, Tone, if I asked you to talk to me about Zydrunas Ilgauskas amongst the better big men of all time, you would laugh at me. You would take them headphones off and you would shut that microphone off.
Of course.
But, however, Zydrunas Ilgauskas amongst the Cleveland Cavaliers organization, where does he rank? Well, I don't think he was better than Brad Daugherty. After Brad Daugherty, it gets tricky.
I don't think he was Hot Rod Williams.
I mean, he was an all-star. Not only was he an all-star, I think he's their all-time leading rebounder. He's in the top 5 all-time in rebounding. He's in the top 5 all-time in blocks.
You want to retire his number?
It is retired.
Oh, Jesus Christ. It is?
Yes, it is retired. James had, I remember him being in Miami, and him being in Miami, he had a game, jumped on a plane that night after the game, and went up to the retirement ceremony to go see Ilgauskas' jersey retired. Tell him
he knows Ilgauskas carried him to the 07 finals.
What you fail to realize, Tony, is that this is about the organization. This isn't about Derrick Rose all time.
Right.
And where does Derrick Rose fall all time amongst the greats of the Chicago Bulls?
Is he anywhere close to Mike? So then give him on the Ring of Honor. Don't give him the same honor. Because when you retire his number, that's why I don't like this. You put them on the same level as those other guys, and they're not. Derrick Rose is nowhere near on the same level as him. So like I said, you retire certain numbers, then you have your Ring of Honor. Like you said, Pippen has his mural. Not everybody gets a statue. Not everybody gets a trophy. We're not that damn stupid generation younger than us that wants to give every damn kid a trophy for trying. I want to smack the kid and the parent upside the head. They don't all get a trophy. They don't all get a statue. They don't all get their number retired. Honor them. Put their number up on a Ring of Honor. Give them a bobblehead day. Sure. But enough with everyone's damn. The Boston Celtics have 42 damn numbers retired. You're not going to have any numbers left. We have other things to do. We have a draft.
Yes, we do, Tom.
We have a draft. Yes, here's the deal. Here's the deal. We have a draft. This draft is going to be joy to the world. This draft is going to be all current NBA players are available to us. We're going to pick 2 point guards, 2 shooting guards, 2 small forwards, 2 power forwards, 2 centers. We decide what position where they're going to be. Once we have those 10 players each, those teams will be put into the NBA 2K 25 by Fluent Jr., and they will play a season, 3 seasons, 5 seasons. I don't know how long we're going to sim it for, and we will come back next week and let you know how our teams did. The rest of the roster will be filled out with scrubs, so we're only picking 10. That being said, I think I have a coin. Do you have a coin?
I do have a coin.
I trust you.
Coin right here.
I call tails.
Call tails.
I trust you. You tell me what it is. I trust you.
Tails.
Tails it is? All right.
It is. Tails it is.
So I'm going to pick the winner of the coin toss, so that's me. So I get to pick either, do I want my team in the Eastern or Western Conference, or do I want to have the first pick?
Yep.
I'm gonna go with, let me take the first pick in the draft.
Okay.
And so you get to decide, do you want to be in the East or the West?
I'm gonna be in the Western Conference.
You're gonna. Oh, well, there you perfect because I would have picked the East anyway. So there we go. So let me bring the big board up. I'm gonna. I don't think this is gonna shock anybody. I'm gonna start at my center and I'm gonna pick the Joker.
Nice. I'm starting a franchise and I'm taking that kid from well, I'm a big man guy. So Tone took Joker. Joel Embiid is not available. So I think I can get a couple more years. I'm gonna take Giannis.
And you're having Giannis at your power forward?
I am having Giannis at my power forward.
Okay. You know what? Let's go with we'll go with the 1 and the 5. I'll make Fluent Jr. happy and I'll take Luca at my point.
And take Luca at your point guard spot. I need a lead guard too. So with me having a lead guard, who is better to play off of Giannis than Shea?
You got SGA at the point. Okay. Hello. How are you?
Hello, dear.
Hello.
I saw you getting busy too, by the way. I did.
He liked your dance moves.
I saw you getting busy.
Good night.
What up, nephew?
Chill says, "What's up?"
What's up?
What up, nephew?
You look tired. Go to bed. We're in the midst of our draft here. We're in the midst of our draft. All right. I'm gonna go. Hold on. I do need to confer with my list. I do have a list. I'm gonna go.
What I want to do, I got to make sure that this thing fits. That's what I got to do more than anything. I got to make sure that this thing fits.
I'm gonna take Jason Tatum as my small forward.
Okay. You're going to take Jason Tatum as your small forward. So I got my lead guard at SGA. I got a 4-man, and now I need a wing. Right? I feel like I need a wing. Tone, you already took Jason Tatum off the table. So who am I starting at my small forward? I love this kid in Atlanta, Jalen Johnson. I love him.
So you're starting, Jalen Johnson where?
I'm going to go Jalen Johnson at my small forward spot.
Oh, it's your small
Young
forward.
guy. Yep. Young guy. Great in transition.
I'm gonna go. I like him actually quite a lot. So I'm gonna go at my power forward. I don't think he's gonna last in this city long. I'm gonna go with Paolo Banchero.
Take Paolo Banchero at your 4 spot. So I got my lead guard, right? I got my lead guard. I got my power forward. I need a 2 guard, and I feel like Shea will play really well off of Donovan Mitchell. I think those 2 guys would be really good together. I'm going to take Donovan Mitchell at my 2 guard spot.
Why am I spelling his name wrong? Donovan.
Double L.
Double L, right? I don't know why that looks wrong to me.
Double L.
All right. I'm also going to take my 2 guard. And I know you're not high on him, which is why I left him to the end because I knew you weren't going to take him. I'm taking Ant. I'm a huge fan of Ant.
So I got my power forward in Giannis. I got my small forward in Jalen Johnson. I got my 2 guard in Donovan Mitchell. I got my lead guard in SGA. Now I need a 5-man. And again, I'm building this unit for the future because this is an expansion team.
That's right.
This is the team for right now. This is for the future. I'm going to take Wemby. I think I can build around Wemby. Can't believe I left Wemby off for as long as I did. I'm done.
I actually thought you weren't even going to take Wemby, which is why I left him. He was going to be my backup. He was going to be my backup center, and I was like, oh, I'm stealing this draft with him as my backup center. So I'm young. I'm young, so I'm gonna do a little. Let's do a little veteran guys coming off my bench. I'm gonna go with Kevin Durant as my small forward backup.
You got a vet in Kevin Durant. I got Giannis at my 4 spot, and I want Evan Mobley playing behind him. Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Mm-hmm.
Let's go with this little my backup. We're gonna play a little small ball with Anthony Davis.
I like it. Mm-hmm. I got an expansion crew, and this
should we flip a coin for Seattle or Vegas, or do you care?
It doesn't matter.
Oh no, you're the West. Oh no, you're the West.
I'm in the Western Conference.
So since you're the West, you are Seattle. We're gonna put Seattle in the West, and we're gonna put Vegas. Although that seems weird. We're gonna put Vegas in the East. So that's East.
They are east of Seattle.
They are east of Seattle, and we have weirder things like Memphis in the East. So, all right, there we go. I believe it's your pick is to you.
So I got my backup 5. I got my backup 4 man. I'm gonna get my backup 5 man. So I'm gonna take that kid in Memphis, Jaren Jackson. I'll take him. I got a rim protector. I think he can help me out a lot. Yep.
I think it's time. I'm gonna take De'Aaron Fox as my backup point guard. Give me a little speed.
Let's see.
Oh, that's fine.
Let's see here. I'm looking at my crew, Tone, and I'm looking at what I have. So, again, I want to, because I feel like I got plenty of vets, and I want to stay young. And I'm looking at what I have with Jalen Johnson as a 20-10 guy. I got Donovan Mitchell. I think he's great. So with Jalen Johnson, I need a backup small forward, and I'm staying young. I'm going to take that kid in Golden State, Jonathan Kuminga. This is who I'm building my unit around. I got a bunch of young guys.
I had this guy circled, and I'm like, no matter what, you take him. So I'm gonna take him out of position. Although technically he can play this position. John Morant will back up Anthony Edwards.
Nice.
Which we could play. We can move Luka around. He's a little big for point guard. So we good there. So I'm taking John Morant.
I'm gonna take John Morant. My backup lead guard. Let's see. Because again, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for youth, and I'm looking for speed. So I got SGA at the lead guard. I'm going to take Amen Thompson back in SGA up.
That's a good pick. That's a good pick. All right, it's my last pick. I have a backup power forward position. You know what? He's probably going to retire. But maybe I should. Should I? Let me just make sure. Who did I miss? Anybody?
No, I think you got everybody, Tone.
You're okay. You have a guard to pick.
Yep, I do. So, and I think he's playing at a position right now. So I'm gonna put him back. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
You're already picking. I have my backup power forward. I'm trying to figure. I'm thinking about taking LeBron James. Let's just be honest, because I'm thinking it from it's 2K, right? And so in 2K, he might play 5 more years. So I might get the next 3 to 5 years. If he's my 12th or my 10th man, like I could do a lot worse. But then I'm like, well, no, I've got on top of my list is not him, clearly, because I actually want someone who can rebound. So you're not taking a big. So I'm like, do I take like a Walker Kessler? Do I take a Cat who can also stretch the floor? And then I'm like, no, you know what? I want a passing big man, but I have that already. Do I take a Gobert? Because I don't really have a lot of defense there. Do I take Sengun is the guy actually that I keep fighting with. Maybe I should take. So I'm gonna go with a guy that should be playing power forward, who we overrate a little bit, but you know what? I'm gonna go with Bam Adebayo.
Bam.
That's my 12th man. This is my 10th man. I mean, I can't like that's a pretty good. I was thinking Big Ox. I was thinking Sabonis. I really was, but yeah.
And with me at the shooting guard, we can actually get him because like you just did, Tone. You put Bam in his natural position. Well, I'm going to put Jaylen Brown in his natural position. He's going to play behind Donovan Mitchell. So I like my expansion team. I do. I like my expansion team. I think that we're going to be trouble.
I like them too. So let's recap real quick. So we got on my squad. And just so we're clear, I've now decimated, as have you, multiple teams. Poor Boston.
Took both of your guys.
Both their guys are gone. So I got Luka and Fox, Anthony Edwards, John Morant, Jason Tatum, Kevin Durant, Paolo Banchero, Bam Adebayo, Jokic, and Anthony Davis. You have, which I think is suited for today's NBA. Your team, I think, is more of your defense and rebounding. I think is like you might be the best defensive team in the league this year. You might be holding opponents to 69 points. It might be the late 90s again. You got SGA, Thompson, Donovan Mitchell, Jaylen Brown. Sorry, I should make sure I put which Johnson because there's a million Johnsons. Jalen Johnson, yeah. His is spelled with like that, right?
Jalen Johnson. I think so.
There's so many different ways.
Make sure that we get his name right.
Yeah, I'll know when Fluent Junior puts it in.
Take the Y out, Tone, and put an L in.
Take the Y out. I have an L. Just take the Y out. It's just Jalen like that.
Just take the Y out. That's it right there.
Oh, that's like the. Do you know the original name Jalen? I don't know if you know this. The original name Jalen, pronounced Jalen. Most people give it credit to Jalen Rose or to his mom, I guess, for calling him Jalen. But it's actually there's a Galen, pronounced Jalen, in ancient Greece. That was a name given to someone who was who gave medical attention, like in your small towns. He was your Jalen, and that became his name, Jalen. So shout out to ancient Greece.
That's not how Jalen Rose name though. Jalen Rose got his name because it was two names put together.
No, I understand how he gave his name. I understand that, but I'm just saying there was literally thousands of people named Jalen before that. Yeah, just is interesting. You know me, we like to just entertain. We like to inform. So you got Jalen Johnson, Jonathan Kuminga, stole my countryman Giannis, Evan Mobley, who I was going to pick him just to get under your skin because I know how much you like Evan Mobley, Victor Wembanyama, who I was going to put him at my power forward, to be honest with you, and because he plays kind of more 3-4 than 5. But anyways, and then Jaren Jackson Jr. To round out your 10. So what we're gonna do with this list, for those that weren't here at the beginning, we're gonna take this list. Fluent Jr. is gonna take all those players off their teams. So let's be clear: Dallas is done. Sacramento is done. Well, maybe Sacramento. Minnesota is done. Memphis is done. Boston is done. Phoenix, Orlando is done. Miami is done. Denver done.
What happens? No, none of your guys are when you have an expansion draft. This isn't the first 8 guys protected.
No.
None of your guys are protected.
None of your guys are protected. We took them all.
You're coming to raid your crew.
Yeah. So Milwaukee done.
Nope.
Boston done. San Antonio done. So we're gonna put these teams into 2K, and they're gonna play. We're gonna sim, I don't know, 1 to 5 seasons. We'll figure it out. Fluent Junior is gonna do it. We'll come back next week and recap how our teams did. The rest of the roster will be filled in by whatever minimum guys need to be taken. So one last look. I got Luka, De'Aaron Fox, Anthony Edwards, John Morant, Jason Tatum, Kevin Durant, Paulo Banchero, Bam Adebayo, Jokic, Anthony Davis, Chill, and I'm the Las Vegas. We'll figure out a team name. Chill in the East. I'll also be in the East, which I think is important because we destroyed the best team in the East in Boston. So I'm gonna have a straight shot, I think, to the number 1 seed. Chills.
And for the record, ladies and gentlemen, just so you know, when the Miami Heat showed up to the NBA, they were in the Western Conference. So this is ridiculous what Tone is doing.
I not only picked the team that could score, I picked the team and I got the better division. You got the Seattle Supersonics in the West. However, you've got SGA, Amen Thompson, Donovan Mitchell, Jaylen Brown, Jalen Johnson. You took all the Jalen's. Jonathan Kuminga, a lot of J's. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Evan Mobley, Victor Wembanyama, and Jaren Jackson Jr. So there are and look, their positions might change. Who started this, that, whatever. Coach will, I guess, make up those teams. So that's the draft. I like it. I think it should be interesting to see what happens with them. I don't even know how we were talking about. Something came up. Oh yeah, me and Fluent Jr. were talking about NBA 2K. Obviously, he plays it all the time. And I said, hey, can you do? I was just asking what you can and cannot do with your the custom teams and such. Yeah. And I said, can you actually do? Can you do this? And he's like, yeah, 100% you can do that. I'm like, oh, okay, so all right, so let's see if we can't have a little fun with that. So because this time also, I'm not leaving it up to the people in the chat that are you guys that are stands of Chill. So you can't all just say, oh, Chill's team won, even though my team's better. We're actually going to put it to the test on an actual. Chill Town is so cool. Yeah. Interesting, actually. Do you know who the offensive or defensive? I can't remember. Coordinator is of the Detroit Lions?
The offensive.
I think it's the offensive coordinator.
I know the defensive coordinator. What the hell is his name? Black dude, gray hair. He used to play in the league. I forgot his name.
Can you try to remember his name?
I'm looking right at him. Wears glasses. He's got grayer hair than me. He's darker than me. I think he played defensive back. And
Aaron Glenn.
That's him. Yep. He's the defensive coordinator.
So I got to tell you a funny story.
Mm-hmm.
So
just so you know, shout out to everybody watching on Sports Fluent. Shout out to everybody watching on Chilltown Hoop. Shout out to everybody watching on Twitter. So shout out to everybody watching.
A lot of people watching on Twitter. We are, so as you know, we're at the Detroit Lions.
Yep.
Sorry, we're at the Detroit Pistons game. Excuse me.
Yep. And
we're sitting there, and Fluent Jr. sees this gentleman right here.
That's him.
And says, "Yo, Chill, it's Chill."
That's not me. No.
And I said, you know, if Chill was here, like I know. We family, we talk every day, and
I've seen him in person before, so I know what he looked like.
And it was far, and so he says, "Oh," he goes, "I could have sworn it was him." And I said, and I was like, but who is that? Like, because he was on the floor with us on the Pistons court, and then find out, oh man, it was Aaron Glenn. I'm like, oh man, I should have, because their game was the next day. I was like, oh, I should have said
Right.
what's up. I didn't know who it was, so I thought that was funny because he thought it was you. It was kind of funny. He's trying to tell me I was wrong. He's like, no, it's
No, nephew, that's not me. I wasn't there. No,
you think he would have come to Detroit and not let us know that he was. So we've got, so that's the draft. We'll get back on some good stuff on that. There's a big game coming up in the NBA between two pretty damn good teams.
Yes, they are.
The Oklahoma City Thunder. Thunder, really the Seattle Supersonics, who are we kidding? And your Cleveland Cavaliers. Is this an NBA Finals preview?
It could be. It very well could be. I love everything about both of these teams. Let me rephrase that. I don't love everything about them, but I love a lot about what's going on in Oklahoma City. But I feel like the same problem that Oklahoma City has, Cleveland has it too. And what I mean when I say that, Tone, is I feel like Oklahoma City, even if Chet was healthy, they're still a year away from challenging for the NBA championship. I think they can get to the finals, but I don't think that they can win it yet. And I don't feel like they can win it yet because I don't think that they have that consistent scorer in Jalen Williams on the regular. And the fact that Chet's been out of the lineup for as long as he's been out of the lineup, and for him now to come back 2-3 months later after being out of the lineup, and you expect him to just jump right back in and for them to keep rolling, and then for him to get on that stage, I just can't see it. Well, the same problem that I have with Oklahoma City, I got the same problem with Cleveland. And that guy is my guy. I don't think Evan Mobley's there yet, Tone. I still think he's a year away. I don't think he's there yet from Cleveland really challenging for the NBA championship. This is the same team that I felt like was making strides every year. When they got down, the year before they got Donovan Mitchell, they were a playing team. They get Donovan Mitchell, they make the playoffs. Last year, they end up getting out of the first round and they end up losing because they get decimated by injury. This season, I had this team, their ceiling was the Eastern Conference Championship, which I think that that's going to happen, but I don't think that they're there yet in terms of being an NBA champion. However, these two teams are very similar in a lot of the stuff that they do. Number one, Cleveland's got 10 guys that they play, and those 10 guys are viable. In addition to their starters, with Evan Mobley being one of the most switchable bigs, if not the most switchable big in the game. Donovan Mitchell, I think he's the best two guard in the game. You got Jared Allen, and don't let the afro fool you, Tony. He's really only 6'9", but the afro makes him look like he's 7 foot. Okay, so he's really not that big. But with that being said, he's one of the best. He's one of the better rim protectors in the game, and I love that about him. I actually had a conversation with a couple of the fellas, and I was trying to make sense of it when it was brought to me. Tone, I don't know if there are 5 guys that you can name that are better ball handlers than Darius Garland. After Kyrie Irving, it gets tricky for me that I can say this dude is a better ball handler than Darius Garland. When I think about a ball handler, Tone, I think about a guy, what he does with the ball. Does he have a purpose? Is he taking care of the basketball? Does he turn the basketball over? Is he reckless? And when I watch Darius Garland, he doesn't make a lot of mistakes with the basketball. I don't know if there's 5 guys in the game that are better ball handlers than him. And I'm not just talking about throwing the ball between the legs 6, 7, 8 times. No, I'm not saying that at all.
I think we fall into a trap sometimes when we say ball handlers, and people think, people who can do stuff, like they see on, like we used to watch on and one on mixtapes and stuff, and like, can he, and I always tell people the best passers, the best ball handlers aren't the guys that do the fancy stuff.
Yep.
It's the guys that make the right play, the guys that don't turn the ball over, the guys that make the hard stuff make the hard stuff look easy, take care of the basketball. And so with that definition, you're right. Like, are we going to put him in and watch him and be like, damn, like, look, it's like he's got the ball on a string? No, you're probably not going to say that. But you're right. You might be right. He might be one when it comes to taking care of the basketball.
Yes.
You're not going to get an argument from me. So okay.
I think the guys that are in that rotation, in addition to their starting five, because I think Donovan Mitchell is one of the best playmaking two guards in the game, if not the best. So in addition to that, I feel like Kenny Atkinson, who is now the better coach, he comes in and he's got 9, 10 guys. So you got Karis LeVert, Ty Jerome, Max Strus, Isaac Okoro, George Niang. So he's got 10 guys that he shuffles throughout that lineup. And all of those guys are viable, whether they defend on the wing or they crack the long ball or they're able to just be steady. I love everything. I love that stuff about this Cleveland unit. I can say the same thing about this Oklahoma City team. They got 9 guys. They got Jalen Williams, in addition to their starting 5, with Hartenstein being the glass cleaner that he is. In addition to Hartenstein being the glass cleaner, Shea, the great thing about Shea, and this is where, and I'm saying this now, Tone, I think where the separator is coming in with me and Jason Tatum is Jason Tatum is going to bail you out with a bad shot. SGA is not going to do that. SGA is going to play within himself. He's going to take what the defense gives him, and he's going to pour it on where the defense gives it to him. If you're going to make him live in the mid-range, that's where he's going to play. If you're going to make him get to the rim, that's where he's going to play. If you're going to make him play at the long ball line, you can't make him play there. And you can't speed him up or slow him down either. And I think that's what is the most important part of his game. Then you add in how good they are as a defensive team. Tone, I don't know if I've seen a smarter basketball team that's this young. I don't know if I have. When I think about young basketball teams, I don't know if I've seen a smarter basketball team this young. The way that they rotate, the way that they communicate, the way that they shoot gaps. This team is phenomenal, and they got 9 guys. So I think this game is going to be great. Tone, this is the first time in NBA history that we've got a team that's won 15 straight and a team that's won 10 straight. So to see these two teams get it on tomorrow, I think it's gonna be one for the ages. I'm gonna take Cleveland in this game because I think Cleveland is battle tested, and I think that they're a little bit more mature as a group, and I'm gonna go with Cleveland.
Snap back to reality. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. However, I thought I had a surprise for you, but it's not going to happen. I just think we're putting way too much into this regular season game. These two teams, one's in the East, one's in the West. They see each other twice. One in OKC, one in Cleveland. They're playing great. They're both playing great basketball. They're both at or
twice in a week too, by the way, Tony. They play again next week.
Odd that they're so close together, which is rare. And I just think we're going to hype this game up and we're going to be disappointed because I think both teams are probably going to do the right thing, which is say it's a regular season game against a team in the other conference, and it's not that big of a deal. And I think the game's going to be underwhelm. I have Cleveland winning as well. I'll switch my pick. I'll go with OKC just to be a contrarian. But I don't think it means as much it means more to the fans than it means to the team and the players. And if I've learned nothing else, and I have, but let's say if I've learned nothing else in my 40 plus years watching hoops, it's that the regular season matchups means nothing. It means nothing. You look at the records of teams and you say, well, these guys are 3-0 against this team in the regular season. They should. It means like when, as often as the team that has the better record against a team in the regular season wins, they lose. So whether I'm 1-1, 2-0, 0-2, it doesn't matter in the playoffs. And I can show you a million examples of teams that were 0 whatever and then beat a team 4-1 in the playoffs.
Last year is a prime example of that. I mean, Phoenix, they beat Minnesota 3 times last year. These how many games they beat Minnesota in the playoffs last year.
Got swept. So that's why I say, like, I don't put much weight into it. As a fan, I'm sorry, I'm doing what every person hates. I think this is what the NBA did when they said this is a game that you're not going to want to watch, but here it is. It's a great. I know. I'm sorry. It's a great matchup between two teams that are playing really well and at the top of their conferences. I think if you go in thinking you're going to have an epic battle, I think you're going to be disappointed. So I would say go in thinking you're going to watch a regular season game.
And a lot of times those things are underwhelming, Tone. I mean, we get it's different in the playoffs because a playoff series can be epic off the strength that there's more at stake.
Sure,
like a regular season game in January. A lot of times, I mean, don't get me wrong. It might not be a lot at stake, but I feel like there's enough at stake in this game.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's going to suck. I'm just saying an epic battle. No, I think it's going to be an above average regular season game, which is great because mostly we see below average regular season games. So, we have guys missing 75 threes in a game. So this is going to be better. Better than that. This is going to be better than that.
Right.
We talked earlier about. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I just think that a lot of times when we have these regular season games, and I get caught in the trap. I am not going to sit here and say that I don't get caught in the trap. I get caught in the trap of overhyping a regular season game only to find out that it was very underwhelming. Very much so.
There's 82 games. It's not like the NFL where, if this was the game, Detroit, great example, Detroit and Minnesota fighting for first place in the conference.
I was so charged.
The winner gets a bye week. And I'm in Detroit and I'm a block away from Lion Stadium. We purposely did that so we could walk to the game. And we got a bunch of people from Minnesota at the hotel with their Vikings jerseys and and me and my brother after the Pistons game on Saturday night, my brother and I were at the bar at the hotel having a drink and eating some wings. A little bonding between Fluent brothers. And there's a bunch of Viking fans. And we're going to kill the Lions. And this weekend I was a Detroit fan, Pistons, Lions, Tigers, Red Sox. I was all in on, I love Detroit now. So thank you again, Detroit. And I'm just like, I think it's going to be a good game, but I think Detroit wins this game. I never would have expected
Did you have them stomping them, Tone?
No, 31-9 or whatever.
I did not have them stomping them, Tone.
I thought it would be a 10. I would have gone 32-22. Them dismantling them and making them look like they're not even on the same page when they were fighting for not only to win the NFC North, but to have the number one seed and a bye, especially with all the injuries that Detroit has, like their best defensive players out, 10 cornerbacks out. I never would have thought it would have, and we hyped up this game to be like the marquee matchup of the season. And shout out to Gibbs dropping 4 touchdowns in one game. He's like Al Bundy, 4 touchdowns in one. So you know what I mean? It could have been that game, but it wasn't.
It wasn't, Tone. It was very underwhelming. I was actually disappointed. It wasn't underwhelming more than I was just disappointed. Like, yo, this is trash.
Being in Detroit, rooting for the Lions, it was great.
Of course.
It was great. But yes, it was not. It was not. It was not. No. It was not. And that's what I'm scared that this game is going to be.
I hope they don't get blown out. Let me say that. I hope we don't have a blowout here where Cleveland stomps Oklahoma City or Oklahoma City stomps.
I hope that's true.
I'd like to see it more competitive. But since we on that subject, I have made that mistake, Tone. Yes, I have. But you were saying something since we on that subject.
No, now I'm since we're talking football. Now let's end the day. We'll end the day with some football. Let's stick with we were talking about trades. We were talking about trades. So let's stick to basketball. Then we will do some football. To the person that asked me earlier, Bears head coach, anyone, but can you believe they asked the Dallas Cowboys permission to interview Mike McCarthy?
Can you do that?
Yeah, you can. Anyone but him. That being said, we talked about trades. You sent me a list
I'm
of
glad you brought this up, Tone, because I want to get to the bottom of this.
untouchable players. So you said these are untouchable players that cannot be traded. Is that correct? Is that what you meant by this? Because I think that I believe no one.
That's what I was that was what I was going to ask you, Tone. In your estimation, when you watch the NBA, is there anybody that's untouchable?
There is absolutely no one that's untouchable, and here's why. Now, likelihood of someone being traded. Likelihood of someone being traded.
Right.
That's a different conversation. But for example, pick anyone on this list.
Joker.
I just set a 3-team deal up that's going to send you Luka and Giannis.
Denver would listen.
So
Denver 100%.
Is it likely? Hell no.
But they would listen.
But they would listen. The other thing is, and the thing that we like, okay, am I out shopping Joker? No. But if Joker comes to me and says, I want more horses, not enough horses in Denver. I brought you championship. I want out.
And we want to keep that quiet. We don't want to put that. We do not want to broadcast that.
I don't want anyone to know that.
Hell no.
You're gonna
keep that quiet.
You're gonna make that trade, like, and that's why I say so. If we change the verbiage and say which one of these guys aren't being shopped by their team, I would say Jokic, Doncic, Wemby.
I think Luka is untouchable, Tone. I do. I don't think Mark Cuban would entertain.
Didn't I say Doncic? I said Doncic.
You just I don't know if I heard you say Doncic.
Yes, Jokic,
yeah,
Doncic, Wemby, and that was my 3.
I don't think that the Celtics would entertain Tatum in a trade. I don't.
So if they were to lose in the first round,
yep.
Forget winning. If they were to lose in the first round, and Jaylen Brown outplays Tatum, and I know he didn't outplay him last year, but knowing that Brown won the Eastern Conference MVP and the Finals MVP, and then Tatum pulls one of his inconsistent type of games where he takes bad shots and gets people back in the game, and they lose in the first round because of Tatum.
Yep.
You don't think they're listening if someone comes and says, hey, maybe he just needs a change of scenery?
I think that, to your point, what you said about Anthony Davis, I think they move off of Jaylen Brown, because I think that they look at Jaylen Brown like, this is the guy that we could probably get the most for right now. And if we moved off of him right now, we could get the most for him. And maybe this dynamic between these two, we've probably gotten all that we're going to get. So we're going to move on from Jaylen Brown and get the most and continue to build this thing around Jason Tatum. I think that there's guys.
If someone called you, would you listen though? For Jason Tatum?
I don't think that there's many guys in the league that I wouldn't at minimum listen. Now, don't get me wrong, Tone. Just because I'm listening doesn't mean that this conversation is going to last long. This conversation could be 30 seconds and I can hang the phone up on you that quickly. And that's why I say it depends on what you're asking. Like, the question is, I think everybody will listen to every one of these guys. Right.
How long that conversation lasts, how realistic it is, blah. But I mean, like, there might be, and I don't think and here's the thing, I don't think GMs are brazen enough to call up boss and be like, hey, what would it take to pry away Jason Tatum from you? Like, I don't think that's a conversation. However, if you hear Tatum's coming into his last season, let's say, of his contract, and he hasn't signed an extension, and you're like, hey, I heard some rumors, I'm just checking the temperature on, I'm calling from Detroit, and I'm like, I've got Cade Cunningham, and I've got maybe a Jalen Duren, and we'd like to bring a superstar into Detroit. Where are you guys at with that? I think there's a conversation. Like I said, how often do superstars get traded in today's day and age with free agency? Not a lot, because they have the freedom to move, and when they do move, it's like Lillard, like Butler, who say, hey, I want out. So that's why I say, like, if I have any one of these guys, unless I'm getting someone else on this list, I'm probably not trading them.
Well, if you think about a guy like you just said about Jason Tatum, for example, what when I brought up Mark Messier, Tone, well, how did Wayne Gretzky get traded? Exactly what you just talked about with a GM hearing a rumor. And with a GM hearing a rumor, that's how Kyrie Irving got traded from Cleveland, because Danny Ainge heard a rumor. You know what? Kyrie Irving ain't happy in Cleveland. He doesn't like what's going on. Let's call up Cleveland and check their temperature and see how they feel about him these days. Are we thinking that they're going to hand Kyrie Irving over? No, but word on the street is that you ain't happy with this guy. He ain't happy there. And the last thing we want is for this to get out and for this to turn into something else where this guy's value just gets this guy's value gets diminished. And the next thing you know, we're now having something completely different. Oh, they smashed y'all too, by the way, Tom. Yeah, Dallas stomped you guys.
I saw this and had to just
they smashed you. But that's how that's how trades end up happening. Your Lakers are a prime example of that. When
we signed Shaq, although it wasn't a trade, but when we signed, you know this better than I do. When we signed Shaq, it was Orlando was like, "Listen, you're not worth $100 million." Jerry West says to Shaq, "What would it take to pry you away?" He says 150. He comes back and Orlando says, "We're not giving you 100." He comes back and says, "Yo, I couldn't get you 150, but I got you 125, 130, whatever that number was." And he's like, "Oh, all right, cool."
Which, by the way, Tone, he would have stayed in Orlando had they matched that money. He wouldn't.
Of course. Listen, he
would have stayed in Orlando.
Say whatever you want about Shaq. He owns 14,000 different businesses. He's not a stupid businessman.
Mm-hmm.
So he did what was right for him, as he should.
So Tone, when I think about a team trading for a guy, how does this whole thing come about? This whole thing comes about because a rumor starts. And when a rumor starts, well, I got to go confirm this rumor. Tone's the general manager of the Boston Celtics, or he's the general manager of Cleveland. And I heard that Kyrie Irving isn't happy there. So let me call up Tone and find out how happy he is with Kyrie Irving these days. What's going on between those guys? And how you feel about Isaiah Thomas, Tone? I mean, his contract is coming off my books after this year. You know, he's one of the better guards in the game. You know, you're not really feeling paying Kyrie Irving. You already got James. So, I mean, how do you feel about? Is there something else that I can give you that you would consider coming off of Kyrie Irving in addition to Isaiah Thomas? Is there something else that I can give you for that? So, I mean, sometimes that's how things start. So, and for a guy to be untradeable,
I hear. No one's untradeable. However, there's a caveat. What do you get in return? Yep. No contract is untradeable. I think we've heard Westbrook's contract is untradeable. It's been traded 4 times.
Tone, I thought that Chris Paul contract was toxic. And he got traded 3 times.
And it was. I want to do this for as long as I can, but the clock is ticking. Says Steph Curry.
Now. It's actually ticking louder now.
We are in a position right now where either in the same year or in the span of a couple of years, we could quite possibly lose the faces of the 2000s in one fatal swoop. LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Chris Paul, among others. Like, they could all go in the same year.
That could happen. That's not ridiculous to think that could happen.
That would be one great Hall of Fame class. But could we lose every face of the 2010s in one day?
I think that, wow. To be honest with you, Tone, I don't think we could lose them all in one day, but
in one
I don't think that that's likely that we could lose all 4 of these guys in one off season. Even though I did say that I wouldn't be surprised if James hung them up after the season. I do have an issue with James telling me that he can play at a high level for another 4 or 5 years. No, you can't. Because again, remember who we're talking about. We're talking about you, sir. So your high level is different than other people's high level. You averaging 17 or 18 a game at 44 years old, that's not at a high level. No.
I do want to see that though.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. And I'm sure that there's plenty of people.
His
who would
fans,
love to see that.
they would lose their minds. If he was averaging 17 a game on like 43% shooting, they would lose their. But here's the thing.
I don't want to see that, Tom.
I know you. I know you don't. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. His fans, when we say his fans, they don't even watch basketball.
Right. A lot of them don't.
Can I prove it to you?
How?
Every single one of those, with the exception of like you, LeBron junkies, is under 24 years old, and that accounts for 18%. This is NBA viewership by age. Look who it is. It's all them damn old heads. All them damn old heads be watching the NBA, and you young kids be watching highlights.
You don't care.
Be watching highlights.
You ain't watching games.
Or they'll lie. I'm streaming it. That's a damn lie. That's a damn lie.
Between 13 to 24 years old, 18% of you guys are watching games. That's it.
Are you surprised?
I'm blown away by this, Tone. And these are the same people who I have to deal with on a regular who tell me, yo, well, if you watch games, well, the 25 to 34-year-old is telling me that.
Like pirate streams. Get out of here, bro.
No, that's not. You're not doing that. No, you're not. 17% of you guys between 25 and 34 are watching games. That's less than 1 out of every 5 of you guys.
Let me ask you this.
What are we doing?
If I pulled up that same graphic and it said how many are playing 2K, I bet you all those numbers, all those numbers are completely flipped. And I'm like, that's where you're getting your basketball. Because when was the first time you heard someone ever say, he's a 3-level scorer?
When I got
it's after they started playing 2K.
Yes, it's the first time I heard that.
That's what they tell.
I did not hear that previous to this. No,
so you don't think I'm joking around with my young fellas. You don't think we're gonna lose?
I don't think we're gonna lose all 4 of them at the same time. No, Tone, I don't think that. However, I do know that Adam Silver is prepared to lose these guys. Why? He worked under David Stern, and he watched David Stern lose Magic, then lose Bird, then lose Jordan,
but
then lose Isaiah Thomas.
But
so
he lost Bird.
Yep.
Then it was a couple of years later he lost Magic.
Nope. He lost Magic in 91. He lost Bird in 92.
Did Bird stay in 92? Oh, you're right. He did. Well, but he was not. Okay.
He was over, no doubt about that. And that's where we are with a lot of these guys.
I meant
being honest.
But okay, yeah, you're okay.
He lost Jordan in 93 and he lost Isaiah in 94. 4 years in a row. All 4 years. So I think that Adam Silver, being the players commissioner that he is, I think he's prepared for this. And I think he could be prepared to move the league forward. But the question that I have when I'm watching these guys, because I don't think James is sticking around for 4 or 5 more years. I just don't.
I've already told you what James is doing. I already told you what James is doing. James is going to play 2 more years.
He's waiting for his other boy.
He's going to play with Bryce and with Bronny because he likes stupid things. The only player to play with. And then him and a team of Saudis, because he can't afford it, him and a team of Saudis are going to get the Vegas franchise, which I believe is slated for 2026. And there you go. He's going to be the face of the Las Vegas Gamblers. Jay Fernandez.
What up?
Hello, can y'all hear me?
What up?
Can I get y'all's thoughts and opinions on just bring it to football? Can I ask y'all's thoughts and opinions on Gerard Mayo just getting fired half hour after just like the game's over?
That decision was already made before the game was over. Before the game started that day, that decision was already made.
My thing is, I just think like they have to have someone already lined up for the job. You don't fire someone that quickly unless you have the replacement.
Which I wouldn't be surprised if we got an announcement by next week who the new head football coach is of the. And I think it's largely due to his mindset. See, I think that they're trying to lose in New England, and Mayo is not trying to hear that. No, I don't think he's with none of that. No,
Why would they try to lose though?
to get higher draft picks. That's why.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is gonna sound like way out there, right? This is a crazy theory I just came up with. I think that there was an underground deal between the Titans and Patriots to win that game. I think there might have been some fugazi stuff because Mike Vrabel, all of a sudden, he's the head candidate to come coach for the Patriots. And I'm not hearing no pushback from the Titans on that. No pushback.
They won. Sorry, let me not say 100. They 99% have a deal in principle with Mike Vrabel to come be the coach of the Patriots.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm gonna mute you.
That's
first.
his mic. That's his mic.
Okay, yeah, there we go. They 99% had that deal in place. However, listen, I'm just gonna call it the way I see it. As you know, I did a show for a couple of years with Coach Hugh Jackson. There's a report that we pulled from the NFL. You can go find the minority report. He's a black coach who didn't win, and black coaches who don't win get fired after 1 year. Go ask Antonio Pierce, who should still have a damn job in the NFL. Go ask a million other coaches, and you got guys with worse records who are still coaching. That and the fact that Kraft already had his guy. He had his sights set on someone, and this who it didn't matter who the head coach was. The second Vrabel became available, I think that's who the Patriots were going to hire. That's who they wanted. And so I think Vrabel's going to be their head coach. And to your point, whether there was a fugazi deal to win or lose the game, I don't know. But they had the replacement in place for sure when you fire a coach that quickly.
Is there any players that you guys think we could get in free agency that could up this roster and offensively?
This is a rebuild. This is a rebuild in New England that's going to take some time. First and foremost, do you even have your quarterback? Let's start.
Yeah, we
there.
do. Drake.
So you good with Drake?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
So Drake is your guy moving forward. Okay, so now what we got to do is we got to bolster up that offensive line because he's running for his life.
Yeah, he's he led the NFL in yards per carry for quarterbacks. I mean, every time he rushed, he gained the most yards.
I think the Patriots are in the position of all the teams that aren't winning, which is they need to shore up their. If you look at every team that's not good, right? Shore up your offensive line. Get a couple of upgrades at the skill positions. T. Higgins, Bruce is a great idea, and then a couple of pieces on defense. I think you're closer on defense than most. The beauty is in the NFL, I don't think you're 3 years away. I think you're 1 or 2 years away because the NFL is one of the few leagues that a couple of key free agents and a draft picks, rookies still do mean something. You can turn it around. You can go from a 3-win team to a 10-win team in one season. Now, how do you get from 10 to 14 and be a contender? That's the tougher part. But I think that first year, I think if you're not a 500 team next year, if you make some moves, bring in the right head coach, blah, blah, blah. I think everyone in the NFL is there. I've seen the Cincinnati Bengals go from a 3-win team to a 14-win team and go to the Super Bowl.
The Patriots did that the year in 2001. It was 4-12. The next year they won the bowl game. Nobody cared about the Patriots.
It happens.
Nobody.
I mean, the only thing we really need is just like a better line and like an a good receiver, elite receiver, and we're straightened out. Especially since in this free agency, we got a bunch of elite receivers that are disgruntled. Tyreek Hill being one of them. After the comments,
Joe, but here's the thing, though, Joe.
Yeah, I don't think Tyreek was the guy for you. Although I think T. Higgins more than Tyreek Hill. In the way that the Patriots like to do things. I know it's a different, like if Vrabel comes in especially, he might be more of the Bill Belichick kind of mindset, which is why they want him to come in. And so I think T. Higgins fits that better. My wife's going to kill me because she's a huge Bengals fan and she wants them to keep him. But
forget, Tone. I mean, in the history since we've known the Patriots for as long as they've been around, have the Patriots struck gold in free agency on the regular? Like more times than not, the Patriots are building it from within. They'll get in the draft.
The Patriots are very much kind of draft low. mid-level guys.
Yes.
You're not thinking, but listen, and also taking chances, right? Bringing in a Randy Moss, bringing in Corey Dillon, those types of guys. So maybe Tariq Hill is, who knows, but
I mean, they had their greatest regular season ever when they struck gold with Randy Moss. They
right,
just lost it in the bowl game. That's all that happened.
but that's what I mean, like that. But he wasn't at the time. If you remember, Randy Moss was thought of as he's done. He was a Raider. He was done. No one thought
Randy Moss for a bucket of extra crispy.
Yeah, like no one had any expectations, and then it was like, whoa. We forgot how
he
good
went for a 4th round pick or some nonsense like that. Randy Moss went for when he was with the Raiders.
I thought it was a
4th round pick.
Something
Crazy,
ridiculous like that. Give me a break, man.
Yeah. We get Randy, and we end up going completely insane in the regular season. I got one more question for y'all, man, and it's for Fluent. It's about my C's. I need what's going on. Like, is it anything to worry about with that OKC loss? Is there anything to worry about?
No. I think when you've won a championship, you did say your C's. You said Celtics. Yes, I'm not okay.
Yes, yeah.
I want to make sure I'm hearing right. When you've won a championship, the downside the next season, and go and look. And Chill will correct me if I'm wrong. With maybe one exception, no one wins more games the next regular season after they've won their championship. They know what they're doing. They're saving themselves for the playoffs. And certain games that you would think like OKC they would get hype for, they don't, because they realize I'm playing them twice. Once in mine, like I was saying earlier with Cleveland. And you're just going into it thinking it's a regular season game. They're not prepping for it and doing the film that they would do on a playoff team that they're going to play or have to beat 4 times out of 7. They're just not. So I think no. So I wouldn't worry about it. They know what they need to do when it matters. January, December. No, you don't worry about January games.
So you just don't worry. It's nothing to worry about. It's just postseason. That's when it's time to really worry about.
I would say postseason. I would say if this game was played late April, when do the playoffs start? Mid-May, right?
April like 18th, between the 18th and the 22nd.
Mid-April. Okay. If this game were to happen between mid-March and mid-April, be worried. In January, nah, because you want them playing their best basketball kind of that end of March, early April as they head into the playoffs. You don't want to back into the playoffs. So in January, their heads were it was just another game.
Just another game. That's nice to know, because I was worried. I was like, I mean, geez, if OKC's defense can lock us up that badly, imagine what they're going to do in the postseason.
Yeah, but
everything.
You're not gonna see OKC. And if you do, you're in the finals. Yeah. And when that happens, their coaching staff is going to sit down and say, okay, this is what they did. This is why it's good. You want them to see what they did on defense and say, okay, how do we counter that? And they're going to look like a completely different offense. I'm telling you guys, I know that Boston shoots 1 million threes and everyone hates it. And they're like, and they did it in the playoffs last year. Don't think they can't play different. And that's what's going to have, and they can't do what they did last year. So they're going to have to do something different in the playoffs. I think you're going to see not different, because they're still going to shoot a lot of threes, but I think they're going to have counters to what a team like OKC, for example, because other teams are going to see that and say, oh, that's the blueprint. Trust me, they've got counters. They've got, otherwise.
I'm not worried at all about Cleveland. Just putting that out there. I'm not worried at all about Cleveland. I'm worried more so about OKC. That's the team that I'm thinking that right there is the team to beat. I'm not worried about Cleveland. I think we can smoke them out come postseason time.
If you're only worried about a team that you might meet in the finals, then you're in good shape.
You're in good shape. Yeah. I hope your Lakers get better, Fluent.
Yeah, I'd like you to lose. I'd like you to lose, mind you. I don't want the Celtics winning anymore.
Yeah, but Lakers. I'd love to see another Lakers Celtic finals, though. I'd love to see that. Imagine that, a Lakers Celtic finals with James against Tatum and all that.
Yeah, that might be good. Jay, good to talk to you, though, brother. Absolutely.
Y'all have a good one, guys. Y'all have a good one.
All right, my man.
My Lakers. Why do they suck?
Hey, you know what? I've got this water, and we've got,
because you built your unit around an older man.
We got a red bottle.
And you didn't move on from it. That's why. You built your unit around an older man. And this team is built for the playoffs, by the way.
Older, an old
man. And then when you and I are back here and it's April and they've won their first round playoff series because they avoided the Denver Nuggets in the first round, and they're in business, I think you're gonna have a different tune, Tone. So, but
let's hope so.
yeah. Y'all know what time it is. It's about that time for us, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It was great to see you guys tonight. You know where to find me and Tone. Tuesday nights, this is where we are. If we're not here, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook with my man Tony Tone here. Every Tuesday night, 8 o'clock, this is where we are. You will see us soon. But until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. Last time you talk to your mother. Call your mother. We'll talk to you guys soon. But until then, take it light, but take it.
Joy to the
Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
Nah, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.